Vegeta is without a doubt one of the most popular characters in the Dragon Ball franchise, despite being a huge jerk. Sure, he's grown and evolved quite a bit from his early days, but the guy can still be the worst sometimes. In fact, we found more than a few moments from Vegeta's history that prove exactly that. Without further ado, let's take a look at all of Vegeta's worst moments throughout the Dragon Ball franchise, shall we? Battle with Goku. Let's start with one of the most iconic moments of Dragon Ball Z, Vegeta's battle against Goku. There are a number of reasons why this battle, as well as the scenes leading up to it, show that Vegeta is the worst. The main one being, of course, the fact that Vegeta was trying to end Goku's life. And if that wasn't bad enough, Vegeta also attempted to blow up the freaking Earth midway through the battle. Because of his evil intentions, and because of how sadistic he was when fighting against Goku, there's no denying that this fight was one of Vegeta's most evil, irredeemable moments. Specifically, when Vegeta turned into a great ape, it was clear that he took great pride and joy in hurting Goku. As if the cry of pain that Goku let out while being squeezed by great ape Vegeta wasn't enough to convince you that this battle was one of the character's most evil moments, then the fact that he was ready and willing to destroy the planet with a Gallic gun should do the trick. Almost let Bulma die. It's fair to say that Vegeta and Bulma's relationship only started as a fling. There was some passion, sure, but we doubt that Vegeta, at the point that he was at in his character arc, was ready to have a loving relationship. Suffice it to say, Vegeta didn't appear to care for Bulma too much beyond their initial time together. While the two eventually got married and became more of a family, Vegeta showed how little he initially cared for his future wife in the Cell Saga. On top of ignoring his son, which we'll get to in a minute, Vegeta also did something terrible to Bulma during this saga. He almost let her die. While pursuing and battling Dr. Gero, Bulma arrived on a ship that Gero attacked and sent crashing to the ground. While Vegeta did nothing to save Bulma and his infant son, Future Trunks was quick to help them, chastising Vegeta afterwards for being more concerned with the androids than his family. Got rid of the Namekians. During the Frieza saga, the titular villain was attempting to gather the Dragon Balls on Namek in order to gain immortality. Vegeta, sick of taking Frieza's orders, was attempting to do the same. However, while Frieza's men were unable to find the rest of the Dragon Balls without their scouters, Vegeta had recently learned to sense energy, allowing him to find one of the Namekian villages that was hiding a Dragon Ball. Unfortunately, Vegeta's approach to obtaining said Dragon Ball was about as nice as Frieza's was, meaning he just threatened and wiped them out after they refused to hand over the magical orb to a villain as evil as him. This is definitely one of Vegeta's worst acts, and it's amazing that the other Z fighters have forgiven him for it, if they even have it all. Vegeta not only destroyed every last Namekian in the village, he also destroyed their homes, all to get just one Dragon Ball, one that he eventually lost since Gohan was able to find its hiding place. Planet Conqueror. Vegeta's actions before coming to Earth are arguably worse than his battle with Goku. Specifically, we're referring to the fact that Vegeta's entire job was to kill off alien species, conquer their planets, and help Frieza sell them to the highest bidder. Anyways, Vegeta had been destroying entire species and their civilizations for over 2 decades, only stopping after his fateful trip to Earth. Sure, Vegeta has shown he's not the same anymore, but he still committed mass intergalactic genocide. Sorry, bud, can't good dad your way out of that one. Although we've only seen a few instances of Vegeta doing this job, we know he was doing it for a long time, making him one of the most deadly and evil characters in all of anime. Let Cell become perfect. You know, the more terrible Vegeta moments we list, the more we realize how terrible he is. Weird how that works. One of the best, or is it the worst examples of this, came in the Cell Saga, when he let the titular villain achieve his perfect form. Not even killing entire species compares to allowing an ultra-powerful monster the time and opportunity to transform into his most powerful form. Vegeta allowed Cell to do this because he wanted to test his Super Saiyan strength against Cell's strongest form. But this doesn't make the decision any less dumb. Again, we get it, Vegeta wasn't his true heroic self at this point in the franchise, but letting Cell become strong enough to pose an actual threat to the world was just plain arrogant and dumb, making for one of his worst moments in the series, forcing Gohan to have to bail his butt out by defeating Cell. Bad vacation. Moving away from all this death for a moment, let's look at some of the worst things Vegeta has done as a good guy, starting with his inability to relax with his family. Specifically, we're referring to the fact that Vegeta couldn't handle a family vacation, as well as the fact that he didn't want to participate in Bulma's birthday party. Both of these examples came from the first saga of Dragon Ball Super, and they show that Vegeta can't even muster up the energy to pretend he's having a good time with his family. Sure, deep down, we all know that Vegeta loves and cherishes his wife and son, but he does not care to show it, especially when it comes to spending some downtime with them, since he'd rather be training. Of course, in order to fulfill a promise he made to Trunks, Vegeta agreed to a vacation, but he was a big old grumpy sourpuss about it the whole time, finally having enough when a luau annoyed him so much that he just up and flew away. He wasn't much better at Bulma's party either, hardly participating in the events until he was forced to by Lord Beerus' arrival on Earth. Come on, Vegeta, you'll dance for Beerus, but not for your wife? For shame! Took Nappa's life. We're not going to argue that Nappa was a good guy who deserved to live or anything like that, but it's still pretty lame that Vegeta just ended his Saiyan partner. Nappa might have had room to grow into a better person like Vegeta did, but that's not the reason why it was so terrible that Vegeta killed him. No, the reason it was so terrible was because Nappa was one of the only Saiyans left besides Goku and Vegeta. Think about that for a second. Yet despite there being so few Saiyans left in the universe, Vegeta was more than happy to dwindle their numbers further by taking Nappa out for good. Vegeta's reasoning for this, if you could even call it that, was that he was purging the Saiyan race of weaklings, deeming Nappa one because he had lost to a lower-class Saiyan like Goku. Even if this was his goal, destroying one of the last living Saiyans doesn't purge weakness from the Saiyan race. It just purges the race as a whole. You know, we're starting to think Vegeta's a big old doofus. Ignored Trunks. As we previously covered, Vegeta didn't really seem to care about Bulma after their initial fling, and he didn't seem to care much for their son that resulted from this fling either. In fact, the only reason Vegeta eventually gave in to becoming a better father was because of Gohan's power. If you recall, after Gohan was able to surpass his own power, Vegeta vowed never to fight again, retiring from battle to focus on other things. We don't know exactly what happened between the Cell and Buu sagas, but Vegeta finally started to acknowledge his son at some point during this time skip. Prior to this, however, Vegeta was straight up a neglectful father, not caring for his son, not making an effort to save him and Bulma when their lives were in danger, and likely barely seeing him unless Bulma was around. Mean to Goku. Despite the fact that Goku and Vegeta are pretty much besties at this point, or close enough at least, Vegeta is still a major jerk to Kakarot. Think about it. They train together all the time. They sort of hang out with each other on a weekly basis, and they've fused on 3 separate occasions. We think that's enough for them to be considered best friends. Even if this isn't the case, they're far from enemies. Meaning Vegeta shouldn't be so dang mean to Goku. Nearly every chance that Vegeta gets, he calls Goku a moron, especially in Dragon Ball Super Broly. And even when he's not straight up insulting Goku, Vegeta is still very coarse and standoffish with him, speaking in a gruff and annoyed tone in a lot of their interactions. Okay, sure, that's just how Vegeta is all the time, but you'd think that Vegeta would be a little nicer to the guy who set him on the right path and sparing his life and accepting him as a friend and ally. Majin Vegeta. After being bad for oh so long, Vegeta turned over a new leaf, and through losing his desire to destroy the Earth and gain immortality through the Dragon Balls, Vegeta started to change, eventually having a kid and becoming a full-on hero of Earth. However, Vegeta had a secret fear that his family and his love for them was making him weak, which is what led to the infamous Majin Vegeta transformation that came in the Buu Saga. This transformation and fall from grace came about because Bibidi preyed upon Vegeta's fear of his weakness, forcing him to fall back on his own ways, turning him into a ruthless psychopath who took down anyone who stood in his way of becoming the strongest warrior in the universe. In this state, Vegeta straight up murdered half the crowd at the World Martial Arts Tournament, challenging Goku to a battle to prove that he was the best.
To a Saiyan, pride is all!
This moment was definitely a stain on Vegeta's newly reformed life, one that proved he could be the worst sometimes.
Trunks, Bulma, I do this for you.
Fortunately, Vegeta was able to redeem this backslide into his old evil ways by sacrificing his life to destroy Majin Buu in one of the series' greatest and most emotional moments.
His name was Vegeta, a proud Saiyan prince.
So, there you have it. 10 times Vegeta was the absolute biggest jerk in the universe. Did we leave any moments out? Which of these was his worst act? Let us know what you think down in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to CBR for more Dragon Ball videos. Thanks for watching.